Speaking about energy, I've noticed that in the last few years, I've heard phenomenal numbers that before a few years ago, there was no such thing as energy drinks. Now today, there's energy drinks that come in bottles, there's energy drinks that come in cans, there's big ones, there's little ones, and I've heard it's a multi-billion-dollar industry almost overnight. What's the difference between creating energy using Riboceine and these current energy drinks? And I asked that of both of you.
Well, again, with Riboceine, what you're doing is you're working primarily at the cellular level. By optimizing mitochondrial function, your mitochondria are going to produce adequate amounts of ATP, which is going to produce that deep well of energy. That's not going to be temporary. It's not going to have a window, like a 5-hour window or a 4-hour window, but it's going to be throughout the day. Now, the problem with energy drinks that we see, first of all, so much caffeine. Well, caffeine's okay, but again, caffeine can cause excessive diuresis, dehydration, and when they're playing sports, when these kids start to dehydrate, they will not perform optimally, and their performance is going to suffer as a result. The other thing we find is when so many of these kids get on these energy drinks and they're kind of addicted to them. If they don't have them, they're exhausted. And for those, it actually taxes the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands are very important. The adrenal glands are important in helping also with energy. But when you literally are stepping on the accelerator throughout the day, which these energy drinks do, they really stress the adrenals, you will eventually run out of energy. And you'll, so that eventually, even if you take these energy drinks, you will not have the energy. The other thing concerning is their effects on the heart. It can speed the heart up. It can possibly trigger an arrhythmia. It can possibly trigger high blood pressure. And it can interfere with sleep. And a lot of these kids it keeps them so wired, especially for night games, that literally they can't sleep well, impairs their sleep, they wake up exhausted. Then they have to have one upon awakening in the morning. But the thing that concerns me even more is, these drinks generally are very acidic to the body. And when you take these drinks and you're dependent on it, it literally cannibalizes the bones. The enamel of the teeth, they start to lose their enamel, they start to develop cavities. They actually, if they're taking tremendous amounts of these, even young girls start to develop early osteopenia or bone loss. See? So again, these, it's so much better to use a supplement such as Riboceine, such as the Max products that literally work at the cellular level and enabling the mitochondria to produce adequate amounts of ATP. We're optimizing our body's ability to produce that deep well of energy instead of depending upon these drinks that give you energy for just a narrow window, that the other side effects literally cancel out most of the benefits of it.
What are your thoughts, Dr. Howard?
Well, I completely echo those thoughts, but I have a few additional, and the ones that disturb me are not the little drinks that are, you know, for a certain time period, but it's the large cans. And my oldest son plays in a rock band, and they tend to have those hanging around. And what I said, give me the can, let me look at it. And I said, do you know how many calories are in this can? And do you know what this is doing with all that sugar? And he goes, well, there aren't that many calories. And I said, well, why do you say that? How many servings are in here? 2.5 servings per can.
Oh, wow.
You multiply that times 90 calories, and you know, you're in and the problem with it is it's pure sugar. I don't care what they call it, it's pure sugar. What it does is it causes a blood sugar spike. The body tries to compensate for that, secretes insulin. The blood sugar comes crashing down, and suddenly they're hungry, and they're looking for energy, and it's just a really bad cycle to get in. And I want to echo the acid part of it. It can really not just damage your bones, but it can etch your teeth and cause decay along with the sugar. And then there's the issue of how much they take. You know, the amount of vitamins and minerals can become toxic if they drink a lot of them. And so I'm adamantly opposed to these things, but I'm certainly not as good a marketeer as these companies are. And they really have done a magnificent job of inserting themselves into the habits of our kids, but I think we owe it to them to talk about a better way to do this is to do exactly what we've been talking about, which is to get the right compounds into the body and let the body do what it does best. And that is, you know, and we talk about the MaxATP product, for instance. ATP says it all. That's the energy currency of the cell. And here you have a balanced compound that includes ribosine and certain vitamins involved in those pathways, and it will definitely help the mitochondria do their job. And you know, when you talk about putting something into your body, you don't want to be putting a pure sugar load that's very inflammatory. You want to be putting things in that are going to help your cells behave better, make your body function much better. And so I will continue my crusade, because it also is damaging to the heart potentially. You know, these compounds, the sugar high, the risk of diabetes, all of these things have a consequence.
Now, tell me your experience, either one of you, with ATP, our little energy drink.
Well, first of all, what I love about the ATP, and I put a cyclist on this, it's amazing. This one cyclist is training with professional cyclists, and he would literally cycle over 100 miles a day over the weekend. And we put him on this for a month, and then just a few days before he was about to run out, he says, "You got to send me more of this." He says, "My endurance is off the chart, my energy." He says, "My recuperability, I'm able to recover so much faster." He says, "I've got to have it. FedEx it to me right away." Now, what we find in this product, not only does it have the ribosine, but it has the rhodiola. Now, rhodiola is a powerful adaptogen that helps with, studies have shown that it helps endurance significantly, especially in cyclists, people who, you know, ride bicycles, but also other endurance athletes. So again, and also it has some vitamins in it too, which is very helpful. So again, this is working on the cellular level by enabling the mitochondria to produce adequate amounts of ATP, optimizing that ATP so that the person can get that deep well of energy that's not going to last just a narrow window, but it's going to last for many hours throughout the day and evening. But again, the neat thing about this product is it doesn't keep you wired like these energy drinks.
Yes.
Those energy drinks impair sleep. This product enables you to enter into that deep sleep, and that's what my patients just are amazed at. Because when they go to bed at night, they say, "I have all this energy during the day, but when I go to sleep at night, I enter into the deepest, most refreshing sleep," because that's what happens when you literally, this product works on the cellular level, but it also works in the brain, and it balances. Well, it helps to bring the glutathione levels in the brain up, which, again, helps to balance those neurotransmitters in the brain, which enables one to enter into that deep sleep.
And Dr. Nagasawa says it's demand release. So when your body's demanding it, it releases. When you want to sleep, you're not demanding a lot of energy.
That's right.
And I literally can take if I have to write a chapter in a book, and I'm going to write it between 11 and 1 in the morning, I'll take an ATP around 10 o'clock. I have all the energy I need. The moment I'm done writing, I lay my head on a pillow, and literally within 2 to 3 minutes, I'm asleep. And I go into that
amazing.
level of sleep at 63,
Yeah.
a deep sleep where I can recall my dreams. I mean, it is crazy. I can remember my dreams now, and I used those days had long gone by. But we have a 56-year-old cyclist who says he's been cycling competitively for 18 years. He's a doctor in Florida, and he says he is now winning against cyclists that are half his age, and they all think he's on a performance enhancer, and he says, "Well, I am, because ATP is your body's natural performance enhancer," and so as is some of the other components in that. So we're seeing a lot of that. We have world champion boxers, a lot of professional athletes are on it now. A number of athletes tell me they won't even think of a competition, going into a competition without it. Marathoners, Ironmen, we have a man competing in Hawaii in the Ironman. Never imagined he would be at that level at 40, in his 40s, and yet he is, because, and he takes Celgevity and ATP before the event. In fact, he takes it, he told me he takes it right after he does the 2 miles, he takes it before the event, does his 2-mile swim, then he does the 116-mile bike ride, and then he takes it before he starts the 26-mile marathon. And he said he can't even imagine doing an event without it now.
Well, when you do an Ironman competition or just any marathon or any race, again, you are creating so much oxidative stress to those mitochondria. There's so much free radicals, hydrogen peroxide, singlet oxygen, and all these that have to be quenched in order for that mitochondria to produce ATP. So he's smart by taking this, because he's literally quenching all those free radicals, and he's optimizing the ability of the mitochondria to produce ATP. It's brilliant what he's doing.
When my family found out that I was going to start, taking this stuff, and I've been using it, they were living in fear because, you don't sleep much now. What are you going to do? But I had the same experience you did, which is I actually sleep better, and it's more restful. But the other chuckle I have is that, we have 6 kids, and we have all these employees, and they're a lot younger than I am, and we usually leave them in our wake, and they're trying to figure out what it is that we're doing that's different from them because they're in their teens and 20s. And my wife and I are basically out activitying them everywhere we go. They're falling behind us. And a lot of them were skeptics until we said, well, what we're doing is we're just taking a very simple nutritional compound, and you should try it, see what happens, and maybe you'll be able to keep up with us, you know what I mean? And so I've gotten some of my skeptical scientists in the company, because they're all hardcore, they're worse than I am. This was at a make or break time for the company. We had a study that we needed to get analyzed. And my poor biostatistician could not sleep. He was just having a very difficult time, and I put him on, I tried a sleeping pill for 2 weeks. And he was just not getting things done. He was getting more frustrated. And so at that time, I put him on Celgevity, and I made no promises to him. But I have to tell you that within a week, we had the study results done. He's still taking it. He swears by it now. And I am absolutely certain that he's talking to the rest of his family members and other friends about what this was. Because it's interesting that these sleeping pills give you a false sense of getting some sort of relief, but they're really not giving you the type of sleep that you were talking about and that Don was talking about. It's very important to do it the right way, which is let the body do its own thing, and that's what Celgevity helps it do.
I will tell you, since I've been on Celgevity, the sleep has been so deep and so quickly to get asleep that I'm dreaming, and I'll still occasionally, there'll be a noise that'll wake me up or something, but most of the time, I'm sleeping right through the night, and it's been wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I think this is awesome. Both of you are on our medical advisory board, for which we are so grateful that people of your caliber, of your intellect, of your science background, people who deal with real patients on a daily basis, people that you in research, the kind of research you're doing, and along with your associates, and to have your advice, to have some of the things that you guys have suggested about future products and about future testing and future clinicals and studies and so on. I just feel like as a company, we're blessed beyond imagination to have you as part of our team. So I want to thank you personally on behalf of Stephen Shannon Scott. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.